unfortunately, what I have to talk about here is very upsetting. It's upsetting that you have to talk about this, and it's upsetting that we live in a country that this is allowed to happen, and this is continuing, and this is happening for years and years in this country. And the amount of people dead in the streets of our city and of our around our country and in our towns in our country is unbelievable. 57 this year. Yesterday 2 people have died from sleeping out. One literally right around the corner from Darlaren, from the government building of government. And these politicians, Micheál and Leo in the West, they don't care. They don't care. You think that if he was any decent, Micheál Martin, you think he would cry at the thought that somebody died so close to a government buildings, in other words, and died because barely even 100 years ago, they set up the 4-star, Aaron. And they're supposed to be the people honouring them people's legacies of the 4-star. And I don't know, I really don't know what any of them would say. I might just say Michael Collins, I don't know what they would say for letting citizens die in the streets. I don't really know what they would take. What's this country become? And I say, what have we fought for? And simple as that, what have we sacrificed to get to this position we're in? And it's just unfortunate. You see these government ministers. You really see them. Not to care. Simply not to care. Not to care. Not to worry. Not even acknowledgement that they died. Not even acknowledgement. Not even apology. Marilyn McDonald, in fairness, was the only one who said something. Who said something in all Aaron's chambers. But I just want to say, obviously, may the West in peace. My condolences to the families. Because it's tragic. Tragic. These people are living on the streets. It's tragic. It's tragic in the modern age. Years ago, this country was poor. Nowadays, we're a lot more richer than we were years ago. And it's sad and it's upsetting to think that, we live in a country in 2020 that we can't provide for our people. We can't provide a simple roof. It doesn't matter if it's a 1-room apartment. At least something to keep them in off the streets, keep them a bit warm, give them food. Is it that much to ask? Really, is it that much in our governments? Is it such a big deal for this government to do a small thing, even if it's 1-room apartments if they build that? At least they're doing something. But no, they turn around and it's just it's incomprehensible. It's really, really incomprehensible. And this Minister of Housing, this just takes the biscuit. And I just say straight, this takes the biscuit. And this just goes to show you, Fianna Gael and Fianna Fáil, when it comes to housing. The Minister for Housing at the moment opposed to Right to Housing Bill in 2017. So the Minister, I say again, the Minister who's in charge of housing in this state opposed the Right to Housing when it was amended and when it was trying to be put into the Constitution back then. He opposed it. He said, no, I don't agree with that. And now he's Minister for Housing. What logic? Seriously. Because everybody, and I say this straight, everybody in this nation, everybody who's a person of this nation, deserves a roof. Deserves some kind of roof over their head. Somewhere where they're safe and somewhere where they're warm. But unfortunately, the government ministers get it. Don't worry about that, they get big bonuses. And them bonuses, and their salary, 96,000 a year, nearly 100,000 actually, over 100,000 probably some now again, because they got loads of pay rises this year. And this is the great fact about government. They get loads of pay rises. It's a sick joke. It's a sick joke. And it's not, again, I just want to remind people, when I talk about 2 people, in the government's eyes, it's 2 people that mean nothing. But to you and me, they're people trying to survive. They're people who met their ends in an untimely and unholy way by their country abandoning them. And that's as simple as that. The government of this country is responsible for these people's deaths. And there's no other way of looking at it. Because these people in Darlaren, you and I can give to charities and things like that. We can try our best to give as much as we can and help the homeless as much as we can. You know, like I gave clothes a few weeks ago, some clothes I had to spare to a homeless charity. You know, again, I done my bit. I tried my best to get as much clothes as I can, and they were good clothes. But again, there's only so much you and I can do, the only citizen of Ireland. You know, we can do our best. Again, given that them small acts of kindness mean a lot to people who are desperate and who need help. And you know, hopefully them pieces, you know, it was only a few clothes. It was only about 10 pieces of clothes, but they're well kept clothes. And you know, hopefully they go a long way in charity. Hopefully they go a long way, and hopefully they go to the people who need it. But again, these government ministers, they could do a lot more. Simple as that. They could do a lot, and the same with the TDs. They could do a lot more. They get a ridiculous wage, and they get ridiculous expenses, and they get everything under the sun, and it's unfair. It's really, really unfair, and it's not fair on people losing their lives, and it's not humane. It's not humane, and they say Ireland's a developed country. Well, if this is a developed country, I wouldn't want to see what's not a developed country, because it is the most cruelest way to die in the streets, abandoned, alone, cold, starving. These are the wars we think about. But did the government think about it? Did the government even think for a second children are lying in the streets? What are you doing? Like, you get a wage for a reason because you have to do a job. And he's like, it's incomprehensible. And I don't know where they put this big budget, which they give to homelessness. Where does it go? Seriously, where did they put it? Like, it's not even, you know, it's again, it's absolutely scandalous. It's absolutely scandalous. And I will say this, like, there's probably more people dying. I say this, I don't have facts, but I say there's more homeless dead this year and last year than any of the year before. At the moment it's 57. But you know, that's who to say. You know, there's more people dying there's probably people dying every day and we don't know about it. OT won't cover it. OT will never cover it. OT are just about covering everything up and pretending everything is lovely and dandy. But on the outside, it looks like it's not that bad. But when you look inside, when you look at the people who are suffering, when you look at the numbers, you think, because again the government look at the numbers and think they're expendable. And they don't, they're not people at all. I look at the numbers and I see people. I see people suffering. I see people on the edge, on the brink. And that's something these politicians should understand and should look into, instead of worrying about the fucking goddamn paychecks. Because they're too busy whinging, cribbing and crying about expenses and about this, that and the other. They spend so much time whinging and cribbing and crying. I remember during the first lockdown, I remember TDs literally whinged, cribbed and cried for so long about how they didn't get expenses for photocopies, how they didn't get expenses for this, new computers. It's a joke. And one of them nearly got 100,000 for fucking office material. And these people get 96,000 a year. And forgive me for getting mad, but I'm sure everyone can see why I'm getting mad. Can anybody see what I'm talking about? These aristocracy in the government are literally taking us for fools. Are literally not caring for people. They care for themselves. They care for their own back pocket. They don't think about outside the box. They don't think that other people are suffering out in this country. They only see themselves. They don't see anybody else. That's just plain and simple.